there, I'm Fia, and this is your guide to everything we know about Midnight coming out of Gamescom 2025. All this info was spread across so many days, so many channels, and so many forms of content, from panels to shorts to creator interviews, that it's been a wild time to try to keep track of everything. So I'm going to do my best to pop it all in one easy to watch video for you. From the start, Midnight is very much about Void versus Light. Our big bad evil guy is Alatath, who has juiced herself up with the power of Dementius in the Dark Heart, and she's going up against Illyria, who have been journeying alongside through the War Within. Joining Illyria are Turalyon, her husband and a paladin, representing the light, and their son Arator, who shares his father's relationship to the light as another paladin, but also respects his mum's connection to the void. Lady Liadrin will be stepping up too. She's the matriarch of the Blood Knights. There are going to be so many paladins, but also void elves, with Magister Umbric playing a bigger role in Midnight's story. We'll also be meeting a couple of Zul'jin's grandkids. Zuljara is the current leader of the Armani in Zul'Aman, with her brother Zul'jan as her closest advisor. Lastly, Orwena is one of the youngest of the Haranir. We'll be following her back to her home to work with her people and convince them to join our forces. You heard that right, the Haranir will be joining us as our newest allied race. Blizzard showed off a bunch of clan customizations during their panel, and we've learned they'll be able to be warriors, hunters, rogues, priests, shamans, mages, warlocks, monks, and of course, druids. A pangolin shapeshift form has been mentioned as well. I am so keen. It wasn't explicitly stated, but the language used in the panel suggests we'll need to unlock them as an allied race. I'd imagine this will be similar to how we unlocked the Earthen in the War Within, play through their story, learn their culture, and teach them a bit about ourselves too while we help them with whatever they're dealing with. A few racials have been covered too, including the ability to fast travel between world tree routes. Think like the Dark Iron Dwarves mole machines. We'll start off with a couple of travel points unlocked, with more being unlockable by visiting their locations. The expansion will see us level to a new cap of 90. We have a couple of new and a couple of revisited spots to quest through on our way there. First, Silvermoon City is the hub for the expansion. Maria has clarified that around a third of the city will still be only accessible to Horde players, but about 2/3 will be shared with the Alliance. Eversong Woods has been healed and Silvermoon rebuilt, so the city is going to be enormous, hopefully plenty of space to share. Speaking of Eversong, it's been combined with Ghostlands and possibly the Isle of Quel'Danas to make the Quel'Thalas zone. Some sources don't mention the Isle, and other sources also use Eversong instead of Quel'Thalas, so keep an eye on this one. The Dead Scar has been healed, but there are definitely still some areas that are a bit dangerous and voidy. It's also been confirmed that the old zones will still be available via the Bronze Dragonflight, so don't panic if you're still after some collectibles there. Zul'Aman, the old raid, has been expanded into an entire zone, full of old forest, mountains, and neglected shrines to Loa of Old, and it's also home to the Armani, who are dealing with some void problems, aren't we all? Fun tidbit, we're not getting the Armani as an allied race yet, but they do have some unique hairstyles that will then be unlocked for regular troll toons after completing the campaign here. These two zones will finally be flyable, with players able to fly straight from Eastern Plaguelands into the new zones with no load screen in between. I mentioned following Orwena to her home. This is Haranir, a fungal jungle that isn't really on any of our current maps. It's where the roots of all the world trees grow, and the Haranir live, growing their homes and buildings, and where almost everything gives off a bioluminescent glow. The story campaign will take you from Silvermoon City to Eversong/Quel'Thalas, but then you've got a choice. Head to Haranir and start unlocking your Haranir, jump to Zul'Aman and work towards a new haircut, or travel the world with Arator, visiting key locations throughout older zones in a full zone-length chapter, exploring his connection with the light. We don't have a ton of info on this one yet, but I'm curious to see how it'll play out. Once you've played through all three of those options, you'll enter the Voidstorm, where everything wants to eat each other, and us. There are threats everywhere, and they're all purple and blue. We'll learn more about the Void itself and take the fight to them and each other. The zone is super heavily geared for war mode, with a ton of PvP world quests, a neutral PvP hub, and Horde and Alliance bases. After the success of Delves in the War Within, we'll see more of them incorporated into the campaign storyline, as well as dungeons we can smash through with friends or in follow a dungeon mode, with the campaign then leading directly into the first raid in the Voidstorm. Plenty of instanced content right off the bat in Midnight, with 10 delves plus our Nemesis delves spread across the new zones, with some of them featuring outdoor locations, allowing us to use our ground mounts. We'll be exploring with a new companion too, Valera Sanguinar. She's a rogue, and Ian promised she won't stand in as much stuff as Bran did. We've got 8 new dungeons in the lineup, 4 level up and 4 for max level, and all 8 of them will be available at Mythic difficulty in the pre-season period. For Season 1, 4 of these dungeons will join 4 fan favourite legacy dungeons. We haven't seen which will be included though. Midnight will introduce 9 raid bosses across 3 new raids, starting with 6 in the Void Spire, housed in the Void Storm, with a single boss raid in Haranir, the Dream Rift. A few weeks after the launch of these raids, we'll get access to our final 2 bosses in the March on Quel'Danas to finish off our campaign story. Moving from instances to the great outdoors, each of the new zones has a themed event tied to them. Think the theatre or Awakening the Machine. In Eversong Woods, we have the Silver Moon Court. There are 4 military groups with reps we'll need to balance, with comparisons drawn to the Aldor versus Scryers situation in Shattrath and a ton of cosmetics to earn. For Zulaman, we have Abundance, a professions-themed collectathon, where you won't need gathering professions to partake, but they might grant you some benefits. The Abundance Caves can be found in all zones too, it's just the theme that's tied to ZA. In Haranir, you'll find the Legends of the Haranir, beautiful artworks you can basically fall through into bite-sized lore journeys. You can either zip through them for the rewards, or take your time to learn what the stories hold. And in the Voidstorm, we've got Stormarian Assault. Sounds like a public tower defense style event, with waves attacking singularity anchors, void elf structures used to purge the Stormarian citadel of remnant void anomalies. I'm sure that will all make much more sense once we're in there. While out in the open world engaging with these events, you'll also be hunting prey. A completely new system, Prey sees us choose a target in Silvermoon's Murder Row, with normal, hard, and nightmare difficulties to work our way up through. We'll track this target across the Midnight Zones, and will be vulnerable to ambush at any time, with our prey attacking from the shadows with a few smaller encounters before we corner them and take them out at last. On normal difficulty, we can get help from those around us, but on hard and nightmare difficulties, it's 1v1, with torments that can change the fights and make things even harder. There are a bunch of collectibles that can be earned through hunting prey, and taking out your targets will contribute to the outdoor row in your Great Vault, rewarding up to hero track gear. The system is opt-in, so if you're looking for a more casual play session, you don't have to worry about being jumped, but I love that we can use this system to sort of level up our outdoor play experience, with nightmare difficulty landing below a Delve Nemesis, but only just. Moving on to the last pillar of play, PvP. Midnight brings a new epic battleground, Slayer's Rise, with 40v40 combat, and a structure that seems similar to Alterac Valley, battling across a map to kill an enemy commander. There are also some significant changes to entry-level PvP, with Blizzard introducing training grounds, inspired by Comp Stomp and bringing Silver Shard Mines and Battle for Gilneas into the fold. Players will queue up and fight against refined and retrained bots, learning how the battleground works and how to counter different classes you might come up against in regular PvP. The hope is that this will smooth the learning curve from total newbie to active PvPer, encouraging more players to dive into the excitement. With a new cap of 90 comes 10 new talent points and some small tweaks to how we're going to use them. The 10 are split across the class, hero, and spec trees. 3 points will fall into the class tree, but there's not going to be a new row of talents. Some classes might see changes and adjustments like usual, but no tree expansion. This will allow us to use those points to grab things that might have been just out of reach before. 3 more points will go into the hero tree, with a new column added to all of them, means we'll still be able to unlock every talent here by max level. 4 points will go into our spec trees, with a new Apex talent added. The idea here is that you'll want to put your 4 points here. Each of them will feel very impactful, but particularly the first and fourth points. You won't be forced to spend them here though, you can use them in the rest of the tree if you prefer. New expansion also brings a new race class combo, with Void Elves able to be Demon Hunters. Looks like there'll be a short unlock quest chain maybe, but that'll be available during the pre-patch, so you can get it unlocked and level your Voidy DH up before launch proper. Horde Demon Hunters are still restricted to just Blood Elves, but new race class combos coming soon, TM. The Void Elves are the perfect match for the new Demon Hunter spec though, Devourer. Completely void themed instead of fel. Everything is purple, purple, purple. And they're a mid-range, intellect-based DPS spec. Wild! They'll be considered a range spec for dungeons and raid mechanics, but they'll have builds that allow them to dive in and out of melee range too. The hero talent trees for Demon Hunter will be shuffled to make room for Annihilator. No unlocking the spec, it'll just be there to play once pre-patch hits. Speaking of pre-patch and combat stuff, we're getting a stat squish! The eye level of our gear will go from 700-ish down to the 100s, with our damage estimated to be around the hundreds to thousands. I've been asked what that means for those of us who hunt legacy collectibles. In the past, stat squishes have caused issues with legacy dungeon and raid collecting, as the scaling can be off, making more recent things harder to solo again. If this is something you're concerned about, I'd recommend focusing on the highest end content you can currently solo, likely Shadowlands raids if you're collecting, as these are the most likely to be affected by the squish. If in the pre-patch you find yourself screwed over, super old stuff, I'm talking classic, BC, Wrath, should be easier still. And worst case, you can focus on current content for a little bit until we smash our way to 90 and gear up, making it all super easy again. There have been some significant changes to the new player experience, with the Exile's Reach story rewritten to explain why players are heading to the Dragon Isles, followed by brand new players being taken straight to the Waking Shores afterwards. Questing through the Dragon Isles has been shaken up, and seriously, these are some of the best leveling changes I've ever seen. Newbies will quest through the first 4 zones of Dragonflight, then actually finish that storyline by going into a story mode raid and ending Razageth, then move into the Zaralet Caverns, finishing there by story moding Sarkareth, then onto the Emerald Dream and story moding Farak to finish out. That whole thing will take them from 10 to 70 with actual complete storylines. Revolutionary! New players will then head over to a condensed War Within storyline to take them from 70 to 80, starting with the Isle of Dawn and finishing in Koresh, hitting all of the major story beats and cinematics to make sure they don't feel like they're dropping into midnight, like it's chapter 2 of a book they've never read. This condensed story should take just a couple of hours, and it's not limited to new players. We can all jump in if we want a refresher on where we're up to and why. On top of that, returning players are getting some love too, with a new experience alongside Jaina or Thrall, where messy quest logs, bags, and talent trees are hidden, and players are guided through relearning their class, sort of like a class trial, but at whatever level your beloved old tune is when you log in. The experience includes tutorials on skywriting and how to interrupt, among other things, and if at any point you feel like you're ready to get going, you can just tap out and get back to the rest of the game. But if you stick with it, you'll leave with a full set of level-appropriate earned gear. Better yet, these leveling updates are coming with patch 11.2.7. We don't have to wait until next year. Also in patch 11.2.7, player housing, arguably the biggest feature coming with Midnight. The rulebook has been thrown out the window with customizations here, floating tables, things lodged in walls. Ian even mentioned a house made of cheese to horrify your friends. Most of what was talked about with housing had already come out through development blogs over the past little while, but we have had a couple of small developments. Designs for your housing will be able to be exported and imported through something similar to a talent build string, which opens up the possibility for players to become designers, building intricate rooms and homes for other players to use. There are over 1,000 decor items currently planned with a very searchable UI. An example given was being able to just search for Night Elf and having everything related pop right up. We can decorate the outdoor areas of our plots too, with a barbershop-esque UI for adding towers and the like to our homes, with 4 exterior kits to start with: Orc, Human, Blood Elf, and Night Elf. Access to housing starts in patch 11.2.7, with all players being able to start collecting decor items when the patch hits. To actually select your plot and claim your home, however, you'll need to have a Midnight pre-order on your account. On top of all these features, we're getting some amazing quality of life updates too. Nameplate updates are coming, making them highly customizable with the ability to show buffs and debuffs, larger cast bars for those abilities that can wipe your team if not interrupted. Damage meters are added to the base UI. Having these server-side means it'll no longer matter if party members are out of range or in another phase, and having the information come from Blizzard itself means it'll be far more accurate. Tracking abilities in boss fights will be native to the game, with a timeline of upcoming abilities and alerts with basic instructions on how to counter the attacks. This is all just the start though. Blizzard have more plans for Midnight and beyond to reduce our reliance on these kind of combat add-ons, and hopefully we'll see an increase in game performance if we're able to shift to base UI for a lot of this stuff. For the true endgame, there are enormous improvements coming to the Transmog system, a complete overhaul. Instead of applying mogs to individual items, we're going to be mogging the slot, which means no more looking like a murder hobo when you come out of raid with a handful of upgrades. Even better, we pay gold to apply the mog to the slot, but only the once. Switch a new helm in and it'll still look like my fire halo without spending another copper. We'll have plenty of slots to save transmog sets and the ability to buy more slots for gold, and we can set these to apply automatically in different situations. For example, a set that auto-applies when you head into your house, or when you zone into a raid, or when you change spec. We don't have info on what all of these situations are going to be yet, but even still, this is an incredible change for the system and it's going to save us buckets of gold. If this is just all too exciting and you want more info, Midnight Alpha will be kicking off in just a few weeks with 11.2.7 expected in late November, early December, and a launch in early 2026. You can pre-order now with 3 versions available: Base, Heroic, and Epic. All versions include the Midnight expansion, as well as the War Within, a level 80 boost, and early access to the actual house portion of player housing. Trader's Tender is included in all versions too, 500 in the base, 1000 in Heroic, and 2000 in Epic. This isn't automatically credited to you. Head to the trading post in-game and open the chest to claim it. The Heroic and Epic editions both include the Lightwing Dragonhawk mount and Lightstrider Raiment Transmog set, but most of the cosmetics come from the Epic edition. Prepare yourself, this is a list. Included only in the Epic edition is the Hope Flutter and Doomfeathers pets, the Voidstrider Raiment Transmog set, the Voidwing Dragonhawk mount, as well as a colour-shifting Void Light Surger mount, Light-infused and Void-corrupted fountains, the Light-infused and Void-corrupted rotundas, and character paintings of Valeria, Turalian, Arator, and Xalatath, all housing decor. You'll get Midnight Beta access guaranteed, 3 days early access to the launch, plus 30 days of game time. That's actually insane. This has to be the most value packed into an Epic Edition ever if you like cosmetics. If you want to lock in your pre-order, you can jump onto the Battle.net store. The mounts, pets, and transmogs are already in-game and usable, and they are pretty. So I did say everything we know about Midnight, but obviously this is a bit surface level in some areas. What did I miss that is super important for players to know? Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. You can also find me live on Twitch 4 nights a week. Otherwise, I'll meet you at the Sunwell. Thanks for watching.